Hey guys, there's something that really, really bothers me. And it's about time we begin to look deeply into what we are doing as a country, especially Nigeria. Now, this video is for those of you Nigerians, who follow me. We know there are we have followers and people who are using the export and sell platform from other countries, but this goes especially to Nigeria, and it's more about the way things are being run. The country is really, really in a big mess, and I have to be frank about it. And that mess is really affecting the export business. We keep talking about shifting our dependence from oil to non-oil. But you can't do that by talking. All we have seen is just rhetoric from the government, and things are not being done. Look, Nigerian businesses are suffering. You do everything possible to help a business, to export, but they are constrained with so many things. And I have to say this because, look, 2023, this year, there's going to be a push by us here at Export and Sell to focus on other countries. Because if the government is not ready to make things easy for businesses, we can't be spending all our time trying to get businesses ready for export. And things are just a mess. Let me give you an example. Production costs. The cost of producing an item from Nigeria is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Businesses are suffering. Now let's assume you want to produce food, for example. First thing you have to do, any food product, very profitable. Nigeria has huge potentials. First thing you have to do is to get your NAFDAC license. The process of getting NAFDAC license is killing a lot of businesses. Inefficiencies and corruption in the system is killing so many businesses. You file for your NAFDAC license in a lot of times. I'm going to share some videos shortly where people are complaining. And these are videos that I have taken as far as the highest level of NAFDAC. Still, nothing was done about it. You have people who have paid millions. You have people who have paid, who spend months. Somebody was complaining about spending almost 18 months trying to get NAFDAC license. They have done everything possible. How do we want to compete in the international market when we spend so much money? At the end of the day, we don't even have money for the marketing and all the other things that you need to do in the international market. You own a business, and before you know it, you have people from the various local government, different agencies are coming in, asking you for ridiculous taxes. One of our warehouses in Lagos, one time we came in the morning and the local government had put a seal that we have not paid warehousing dues, and they put a charge of about 5 million that we should come and pay 5 million. What dues is that? What do you call warehousing dues? I'm sure a lot of you saw it the other day, a logistics person that said he needed about 72 different licenses just to navigate, just to operate his local logistics business in the country. With all these charges, how do we expect businesses to be competitive and to compete in the international market? That is the question we need to ask ourselves. And it's not just the local. You have state, you have federal. There are numerous licenses you need to operate your business. That is not even the worst part. What about electricity? Most businesses, most production processes need machines to run. You need electricity to power key things. The cost of a liter of diesel is now almost 900 naira per liter. It's been there for ages. So what are you seeing? To produce one unit, the cost of the electricity that is going into that one unit is about 5-6 times what people in other countries are paying. You have other countries that have stable electricity. If we are paying, 300 kilowatts, 300 naira per kilowatt to produce something, when you do the equivalent, it's about 5 to 6 times less in other countries. So what are we saying? The cost of the products coming out of Nigeria is ridiculously expensive. Yes, the weak naira helps us, but in the long run, it is not working. And then you finish that, you now talk about transportation. Just to move your goods from here to here. Today you pay 1,000 naira. Tomorrow they tell you it's 3,000 because there's no fuel. Look at what is happening in the system now. You cannot go to a filling station and get fuel within an hour. You have to line up at times for days. How do businesses survive this harsh environment? And I'm calling on all businesses. Look, some of you that think, oh, you're going to benefit by voting. No, better make up your mind and select leaders that can have a positive effect on you. Leaders that know what they are doing. Leaders that have actively been in the production system. They understand how businesses run. This is the last chance you have as a Nigerian. And I'm not joking. A lot of businesses are leaving this country. A lot are leaving. People are just abandoning their businesses and going. Now, when you finish the production, let's say you were able to maneuver your way over all these licenses, and next you have to do the shipping. What goes on in the shipping process? Let's talk about it. You are moving a container from anywhere in Lagos to the ports. There are numerous agencies along the way. You have to settle, and the settlement some of these agencies are asking for is not in the 5,000, 10,000. Some are asking for 100,000. Some are asking for 200,000 just to get your container to move. It's ridiculous. These are the things-killing businesses. The cost to ship a container from Nigeria out to a place like the USA is almost 2, 3, 4 times what it's costing to ship it from Ghana, Cameroon, other neighboring countries. And yet we expect Nigerian businesses to be able to compete in the international market. I was listening on radio the other day where somebody was talking about, he's a good friend of mine. He was talking about AFTA, this African Free Trade Agreement, that Nigeria is going to benefit from. Let me tell you a fact. Nigerian businesses will die when AFTA, with the way things are going, when AFTA comes into full implementation, a lot of Nigerian businesses will die. Why? Because you are going to have other African countries that are able to make these products cheaper. They have lower electricity, they have better transportation. By the time you in Nigeria are producing this pen for $1, they are producing it for 25 cents. What is going to happen when you now open the country as a free trade zone? They are going to flood our market with those products. And what will happen? The local Nigerian companies are going to die. If we don't fix the multitude of things that is affecting businesses in this country, is going to be tough. You need to take a stand now and select the right leaders. As a business person, you must take a stand. Don't leave it for your employees or others, that they are the only ones. No. You are shipping a container from somewhere in Lagos to what do you call it, to the main to the ports. What do you see? Sometimes it can take a week. At times it will take 2 weeks because of bad road. What now happens? A cost that you are supposed to pay 80,000 naira. I remember when the roads to the port were good. To move a container was about 80,000. Now it's in the hundreds of thousands. Why? Because at times they have to stay 2-3 weeks on the road while trying to get to the port. It's ridiculous. So at the end of the day, the cost of shipping a container out of here is like 3, 4, 5 times what it is in other countries. And yet we're expecting our businesses to thrive in the international market. Go to the USA. Go to most of the African stores in the USA. 70 to 80% of their customers are Nigerians. But what do you see? 70 to 80% of the products are not from Nigeria. So what does it mean? Nigerians in diaspora are supporting the economies of other countries. It's a big shame. We need to take a look at it. Now, let's leave that and talk. Now, let's assume you've been able to ship your items to the port. What is it that you now see? That's where you begin to see the craziest of agencies that are at the port. I remember one time when Okonjo-Iweala was a minister, she was talking about the number of multitude of agencies you have at the port. In any country in the world, the key agency that is supposed to inspect exports is the customs. They are the ones that come. Only them. It is only when they see that the product you are exporting has to fall under the jurisdiction of other agencies that they then call those agencies. Not that at any point in time and the funny thing is that we have to settle all these agencies. Do I need to start mentioning the agencies that are there? It's ridiculous. There was a time you had an agency that they called Bomb Squad. They said they have to, and you have to settle them to do their job. They have to inspect everything to, what kind of nonsense is that? Security agencies that are supposed to be in charge of securing the lives and property of Nigerians, all of them are now at the port asking you to settle them before they do anything. The last time I counted, there are about 7 to 8 agencies that you must deal with when you are trying to export an item out. And these agencies are not asking for small money. At the smallest thing, they are asking you for ridiculous amount. All these things is affecting our exports. We need to look into it. Government, you need to look. There needs to be a what do I call it? A state of emergency with respect to the export. And I hope whoever is president come 2023, the first thing they have to declare is a state of emergency on our export business. And I'm telling you, because if you don't do it, no matter how much you produce locally, there will be issues. Agencies like NEPC, they are doing so much. They are doing this, they are doing this. But all the other agencies that are supposed to support them are crippling the export business. Now, let's assume you've been able to overcome all that, right? You've been able to deal with the production system. You've been able to deal with the shipping system. Now, you have... This is another aspect that is a big issue. Our regulatory agencies are not doing what they ought to do. You have shipping companies, people parading as shipping companies that are shipping to various countries that have no clue about the regulations of the countries that they are shipping to. A few weeks ago, I got a call from somebody who said, they seized her items, the US FDA. When I looked at the documentation, it was shipping nonsense documentation. The company that shipped it had no business exporting to the USA. But there's nobody regulating all these things. Everybody acts as a shipper. You go to NACO, you see so many touts out there. They are taking items from people, billing them unnecessarily, causing them headaches when the shipments get there. And let me give you an example. We focus on the USA. Because of these inefficiencies, because of lack of following the proper procedure, any container, any shipment coming from Nigeria, especially container, is over scrutinized. The US Customs has no regard for any shipment coming from Nigeria. And I'm being frank. Maybe by tomorrow I'll share some images of a container that our shipping partners shipped. The US Customs, they opened the container and they virtually destroyed everything inside it. Why? Because it's coming from Nigeria. And why are they doing it? Because they have seen that containers coming from Nigeria, they just mix up things anyhow. They don't follow the procedure. After almost 7 days of holding the container, yes, we know the procedure. We deal with people that understand the procedure. They could not find a single thing wrong with that shipment. But they felt, oh, this is coming from Nigeria. It must have a lot of nonsense loaded. They destroyed half of the items in that container. In fact, we are filing a lawsuit against them because you cannot continue to destroy things that come from Nigeria just because it's Nigeria. It is ridiculous. The country is suffering. The country is suffering and government is not doing anything about it. You need to have shipping companies that are certified to ship to certain countries, that understand the rules, they understand the processes. Every time we keep talking about our goods being rejected. Yes, there's a customer, a lady I was dealing with the other day who shipped a whole container to the USA. That whole container they just opened it, they saw one small issue, they locked it back and sent the container back to Nigeria. Can you imagine how much that lady has lost because of this? The whole container was sent back to Nigeria. So after dealing with her production, after dealing with all the various agencies shipping it to the port, paying 3 times what she ought to pay compared to other countries, the container was still sent back just because it's coming from Nigeria. And I can tell you it is because it's coming from Nigeria. If that container was coming from a lot of other countries, they would have either given her a warning or they would have told her remove the various items. Oh, this should not go this. But because it's Nigeria, that's what they did to ours. Tomorrow I'm going to post that video. You will see how the US Customs is dealing with containers coming from Nigeria. And I've sent a documentation on this to NEPC. Let them see it and do something about it. This is what a lot of Nigerian businesses are suffering. We ask for their support in filing a suit against the customs. Because you have a country, yes, USA, they are big, but they obey laws. By the time we file that lawsuit, they will not mess with containers coming from Nigeria anymore. It's getting too much. And then when you finish all these things, you are trying to sell your products on various platforms. What do you see? Because your cost of production is higher in Nigeria, your cost of local shipping is higher, your cost of moving the items, all the agencies, everything is higher. What do you now see? At the end of the day, your product, it's very difficult to be competitive. You list at a price of say 19 or thereabout. You see other people who are selling the same thing for 17, less. One of the things you see in African stores, last month, I was in various African stores. I visited over 5 different African stores, negotiating for them to take Nigerian products. One of the things you see is that majority of their products are coming from countries outside Nigeria. Why? The high cost of Nigerian products. Again, like I said, over 70% of the buyers that go to African stores are Nigerians, but more than 70% of the products are no longer coming from Nigeria. And I keep saying it, those of you who are pushing after will be a big disaster for Nigeria if we don't fix these local issues. Because if the cost of producing your product is 2-3 times what it is in other African countries, by the time you open up your border and say you want to do free trade, what is going to happen? Those countries that have those goods being produced cheaper are going to flood the market. It's even Nigerian businesses, Nigerian traders that will go to those countries, buy those products cheaper because they know the ones that they are manufacturing in Nigeria cannot cope. Look, this is a call to the government. This is a call to the Nigerian government. You need to really declare a state of emergency on exports. It is about time. More and more businesses are dying. And when you open up that after, you don't deal with fuel, you don't deal with production costs, you don't deal with the inefficiencies in our shipping, you don't deal with the inefficiencies in our ports, you don't train your business, you don't have regulators that know what they are doing to make sure that those who are standing as shipping companies and exporters know the rules and regulation. It is going to be a disaster for the country. I'm not going to say more. This video is already getting too long, but I have to say these things because it is very sad. We are suffering seriously as a country. And the earlier the government we select, a government that knows what they are doing, a government that understands the pain of the manufacturing industry, things will continue to get worse. It's no longer a time where we begin to use tribal sentiments. I'm not recommending any, I'm not a politician, I'm not recommending any candidate for you to choose, but you know the candidate that is right. You have seen their resume, you've seen their performance. You've seen how frugal, how they were able to manage resources in the past. You've seen the things they requested, even when they left office. You've seen all those things. You cannot have 2 people or 3 people who are fighting each other about corruption, and then you have another person that is, I don't want to go into it. You know what you ought to do. I'm not going to say anymore. But if we as a country, we as businesses don't take the steps to elect the right person, come 2023, if we make the mistake, a lot of businesses will shut down. That export that we're talking about, we will achieve nothing. And I'm being frank. I'm in the export business. We help companies to do export. And these are the things I see on a regular basis. Government, you need to declare a state of emergency on export. You need to establish a body, have somebody that will oversee everything that has to do with export. NEPC is trying, but they are handicapped in a lot of ways. I know, because I work closely with them. They are handicapped. All they can do is recommend and do, but with all the training, everything they are doing, when it gets to dealing with other agencies, everything they have done is crippled. A state of emergency must be declared on our export business, or companies are going to continue to die. That's all I have to say. Thank you.